Hi, welcome back to Tomorrow's America. My name's Richard Donahue, and I'm here with my co-host William Donahue. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that helps us out a lot. We have a jam-packed episode for you today. Here, Will, what's the rapid-fire news of the day?
So, for what's going on, just real quick with the U.S., basically, Trump has pulled out citizens out of Iran. He told all U.S. citizens to leave Iran, and I think that they're clearing out the embassies right now. You'll see in this article here, leave now, U.S. Embassy posts warning to Americans still in the country. We also have a bunch of U.S. states banning Sharia law and a bill in Congress to ban Sharia law.
Good, Christ is king.
Yep, we have Mondami saying that New York City's immigration policies should be guided by Islam and the example that Muhammad left for people, I guess.
Yikes.
The DOJ arrests the guy who is supposedly responsible for Benghazi and what happened to our U.S. Embassy people and our troops. And then 600 arrested in LA trafficking ring and 170 victims are rescued.
Whoa.
So that's all going on right now.
Let's get right into the your next topic. Is that the files?
Yeah, so basically I had like articles pulled up to back up all those little quick news clips, but we don't have to get into the articles. So getting into Epstein, half of the files have been released, and I'm assuming that that's the good half of the files. So there's a lot of damning information in there, but what's in the other half of the files, if I had to guess, probably would topple businesses and take down U.S. leaders and expose a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't know if we got the good half of the files or, what the deal is, but there's still half of the files yet to be released. That we need to continue to fight for that to be released and for some justice to happen from what's been found in these files. This is not over.
No. And I think we can infer that we've gotten the good part of the files, well, the good, and not the bad part, because why would they give us the terrible parts without the parts that aren't that bad? Most likely the stuff that they haven't given us yet are most likely, like I said, the worst stuff that they have in the files. If we're seeing stuff about George Bush and what he's done on the Yum Yum and stuff like that, these big time yachts, we're seeing stuff like that. Well, I'm sure there's a lot worse stuff that we don't know about, people that aren't yet known to be implicated in the files, and that needs to come out. We need to keep fighting, keep getting it, because we've only gotten 3.5 million pages. There's 6 million pages in total. So we have a lot of stuff here. And just off of what we're about to show you, you're going to see that we have a lot of information, and it's like 10 clips. I have like 8. I have 8 that I'm going to pull up and show you guys. And that's just enough to infer one narrative. What do you think they have with 3.5 million pages that we haven't even seen yet? Not to mention, there's another 2.5 million that we haven't seen and that haven't been released. And for some reason, the DOJ is pulling back some stuff that they already released. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that they can just release it for a day, doesn't get any traction on X, and now they're taking it away. You need to have full transparency. It's court ordered. Release all the files and let us decide our own, beliefs. Pick your own side.
Yep. So the files that are being pulled and released, and they're taking them back. The problem with that is that a lot of internet sleuths have already downloaded all these files. So I don't get the point of what's been released already, taking it back, because there's a lot of people who already have this evidence. So leading into this topic, I just want to frame something for everyone so that people have an understanding of the history of Epstein and how he was so powerful to be able to do these things and get away with what he got away with. So Epstein was chosen by David Rockefeller in 1990 to be like his official representative on the Trilateral Commission. Also, at this time, he became the head of the CIA Air Fleet in Ohio under George Herbert Walker Bush. He worked for Bill Barr, whose father was in the OSS and the CIA. And also, he is a self-proclaimed representative of the Rothschilds.
Yep. You've seen that in the email to Peter Thiel. He said, as you know, I'm a representative of the Rothschilds. Something that Will also did not mention is his wife, Ghislaine Maxwell. Her father was a known Mossad agent and also wrote a lot of American textbooks. Robert Maxwell. He was mysteriously, passed away by falling off of his yacht. To say that that's 100% what actually happened is disputed still to this day, but allegedly he fell off the yacht and that is how he passed. So there's a lot of information about Epstein and a lot of stuff that we figured out about him and that we already knew about him. And when you put it all together, like especially people like George H.W. Bush, like you said, he was working with the CIA with George H.W. Bush, and you see what's coming out about him. These people are going to have a lot of stuff to answer to.
Yep. So this first email is how I want to tip off this section. We're talking about the Epstein files for the rest of the show, but right now, the first section of Epstein files, I'm going to focus on the elite pedophilia aspect of this. Mm-hmm. So what we're looking at here is an email. Both the sender and receiver are redacted, but the subject says, woman who accused John of God cult leader of rape mysteriously kills herself at Spanish home. So the email says, blank spoke of this going on at Zorro Ranch, which was an Epstein property. She has said on record that Epstein offered her money to do this, birth babies for black market use.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, pretty big deal.
Like brand new babies, like freshly born.
Yeah.
Wow, that is horrific. Yeah, I mean this stuff is coming out, and it doesn't matter if these babies were literally born a month ago or a couple years old. Like they do not care.
So I want to play a video for you guys because
you can't get out.
I want to play a video for you guys because for the longest time they denied that this was going on at all. Sorry, I gotta get this thing full screen here. Yeah, so for the longest time they wanted to deny that this was going on at all, right?
Yeah.
You love Alex Jones on this show.
So obviously Alex Jones was calling out the elite pedophilia. This video is from May 13th, 2019. I want to show you about how they have portrayed this for the past 8 years, probably 20 years, because people have been talking about this since 2005. Alex Jones was talking about this since 2005. Put the video back up, Rich. This is how they're literally making fun of it as if it's like some wild conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Ready?
Can't get Alex Jones anywhere else. The government has banned him. He's been removed from
everything.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And so the only place to hear his conspiracy theories and whacked out stuff is right here on the show. So because you love when he comes on our show, I've arranged today for you to talk and to enjoy Alex Jones. Let's go right to Alex. and you can see him up on the screen here.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation.
Oh, the video
Alex
element
Jones
is great.
Coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. I am here speaking with the controlled corporate media gatekeepers, degenerate Satanist Howard Stern, and the leader of 4 pedophile cults, Jimmy Kimmel. Good morning.
Good morning.
By the way, you're having a tremendous. I was just telling Jimmy, you're having a.
Why are you moving like that?
Yeah, what's the matter? You seem like you're shot out of a cannon.
I've had a lot of bone broth this morning. Bodies out the bone broth. Get you feeling good.
Bone broth you eat.
The bone broth, it is so good. It's loaded with vitamin R. Listen, Jimmy, I know you're in New York right now for the annual Bilderberg meeting where the technocracy takes drugs in the temple and interfaces with the Palantirs for planetary control of the interdimensional connection.
Right.
I know that.
Right. No, he's in town for something called the Upfronts for ABC.
It's an advertising event.
That's not true. It's the Bilderberg meeting. Listen, I cover this all in my new book. Alex Jones exposes globalist pedophile cults again. You can get the new book.
And Jimmy's in it, and I'm in it.
You're in. It's about my interviews. It's about Roger Stone, the Plum Island subhumanoids, the janitor from Sandy Hook. It's all in the book. It's great.
So everyone is excited that you're here this morning. What is going on? They've taken you off every media outlet. We can barely see you anywhere.
We have been shadow banned.
So that just highlights. You see them talking about it. They're making fun of it. They're laughing. They think that, like, oh, this will be a good segment. Alex Jones is ridiculous, calling out elite pedophilia and blah blah. It's just they make such a joke of it. Now with the revelation of the Epstein files, that Howard Stern bit didn't age very well.
No, it didn't age well at all. And actually, most of the stuff that he said, the global pedophile ring, like they were making fun of his new book. Well, look at what's going on now. It gets exposed. And yes, there is a huge, not just global pedophile ring, but satanic rituals. They're eating people. They're literally eating babies. Like it's way worse than we already thought. They didn't care. And I heard this from someone who actually enlightened me, and it made a lot of sense. They didn't care about getting exposed for being pedophiles. They didn't want to get exposed for eating people and satanic rituals, because if you're performing rituals to Satan, well, if there's Satan, there's a God. And obviously right here, our God is Jesus Christ, and Christ is King. So we just got to live for Jesus Christ and don't live for the world. And if you live for Jesus, then your life is going to be a lot better off. And your morals, the way that you live your day-to-day life, you just got to keep him close, keep him with your heart, because when you're not with Jesus Christ in this world, I mean, you see what's going on with the Olympics. They're doing satanic stuff every year. They made fun of the Last Supper a couple years back. It's literally in plain sight. They don't care.
Yep. Rich, this video I wanted to play as a build-up to one of the emails that came out where Rothschild, I don't know which one, is talking about a good hunt and talking about, it seems like he's talking about human hunting. So I want to play this video. This came out a long time ago. This is supposedly an alleged survivor of human hunting. And then we'll show the Rothschild email.
Yep.
I'm just going to play a little bit of this clip just so that you can see what she's talking about.
So this isn't Bohemian Grove per se, but think that area.
Gotcha.
For these
Okay.
things. Yeah, up north more. Dad. Hold on, which one do I want to tell first? Well, one that's coming to mind is that they would do a thing called the first hunt. I don't know what season it is, but there would be men in like old-timey clothes, like not like old-timey, like whatever I think a early 1900s hunting outfit would look like. That's what they looked like to me. And so there were a line of children. So this is in the forests of, up north in California, farther, up north in the redwoods. And they would have the children lined up, and there would be beagles barking. And I just hear them be like, I forget what they'd say to start it, but like ready, set, go. But I don't even think they said ready, set, go. They just made us. Oh, I think they just shot up in the air, but they had these muskets. And so all the children, when that happened, we all ran. We were running, trying to get behind trees, trying to hide. And I just remember, like, I was so tunnel focused on getting as far as I could, and I knew zigzags, you're less likely, or to get shot. I went behind trees and all these things, and I remember trying to save a little girl. I don't know what happened to her because this is a very short memory. And yeah, I don't know. That's just a memory up in Northern California. And I think the little girl must have been 4 and I must have been like 7, but I don't know. I don't know how many times that happened, but that's a memory I have. And like, I hope I'm crazy, but it's a thing. It's a thing that's in my head and feels real.
Here, and let me get on this really quick, because exactly what she's saying, in the American system of education that we learn, in 9th or 10th grade, you read a book called The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. So this is, let me give you a quick summary. This person gets lost on this island, and people don't usually come back from it. He's on the island. They take him into this house, basically. He's talking it up with him. They're talking. At morning, you go and you hide, and you have like 24 hours. I forget exactly what it is, but you have like 24 hours to hide. And this guy, like, he's gone around. He's hunted everywhere. He's hunted Asia, Africa, the Americas, Europe. He's hunted everywhere. Everything under the sun. All the animals that you can find. All around his house is all taxidermied, everything. He is so corrupt that he ends up hunting humans. So people that land on his island, he ends up hunting the humans. And in this most dangerous game, they're literally telling us in like our schooling systems what's going on in real life. So that's the thing that sketches me out, is they're literally showing it to us and like putting it in front of us. This book, they say right here, it's a short story, not a full novel. I think I read it in 9th grade. But if that lady, what she says is true, and honestly, the way that we've seen everything unfold, I bet it is true. They're literally telling us what they're doing in plain sight. Like you listen to Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like this, they're literally telling you what they're doing in plain sight. And, they don't think it's wrong, because if they can tell you what's going to happen before it happens, then they're not actually deceiving you. This is disgusting.
Also, from what she mentioned Bohemian Grove. And if anyone knows anything about Bohemian Grove, there was journalists who infiltrated Bohemian Grove, which is a secret meeting in the Redwood Forest in California, where all kinds of world elites, and this is more of a Republican thing, all these U.S. elites and movie stars, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even know. I know that Kid Rock and all these influential people went to the Bohemian Grove, and it's a social gathering, blah, blah, blah. They have to do what's called sleeping around, where you sleep in different camps with different people. I don't know if you like literally sleep with them, but you sleep in their lodge, and they call it sleeping around, and every new member has to sleep around. And then at night, this is captured on video, at night, they do a mock human sacrifice with like a mannequin, and they do a fake human sacrifice underneath a giant statue of an owl, and they all wear hooded robes and carry torches. This is a literal thing. I feel like that's the initiation into the pedophile elite cult. Yeah. Once you do a mock human sacrifice, then they know that maybe a certain amount of people would be willing to do a real human sacrifice, is how I interpret it.
Yeah,
can you put
I'll pull this up, and not to get too off track, but like when you look at the Super Bowl, they have this TPUSA, Turning Point, Charlie Kirk's organization has this thing where now they're doing a new halftime show with right-wing people like Kid Rock. So on one hand, you have Bad Bunny, who's wearing dresses and crap like that and screaming about ICE. And then on the other hand, you have a Bohemian Grove goer with Kid Rock and other people. Like, either way, it's both super weird. It's both with people that are not great role models and who we shouldn't look up to. But I think that's just something to look into. But let's check this out.
So this is an article, or an email to Jeffrey Epstein from Redacted. And it says, I'm trying to figure out which article. Okay. Got it. Amazing. Old male. An amazing hunt. My bunkies should be careful. Oh, no. My bankers should be careful. Thanks. Thrilling hunt. So I just put this out there because I'm not sure if what they're talking about. But essentially, I mean, with all the pedophilia and all the black market children, and we just saw the video of the woman who was a survivor of human hunting with a line of children and all this stuff. It makes you have to wonder what was
A big hunt.
Ariane Day Rothschild talking about in this article.
No, that's super weird. The whole Rothschild family is super implicated in this Epstein saga, everything involving it. You'll see later, 4 women Rothschilds, along with Jeffrey Epstein, and got $225 women's haircuts. So
You might as well put that up.
yeah, let's pull it up. Let me, as I pull this up, let's just get into some of this stuff, because there's a lot of weird crap that, like, when you actually look at some of the stuff that Epstein was doing with the Rothschilds, it's super weird. So right here, you got Jeffrey Epstein, Elise Ariane, I don't know. I'm sorry if I messed this up, but it doesn't really matter their first names, Eve and Olivia. So 4 Rothschilds, Jeffrey Epstein. The service that all of them got were women's haircuts. So I mean, I guess it makes sense if Epstein was hanging out with 4 women, but why would he get a woman's haircut as well? The price for all of them was $225. The quantity, is 1, so they all got 1 haircut, and the subtotal was $1,125 with a $50 tax. So they end up spending over $1,000 on 5 haircuts, which, I mean, I don't know if this is like a super fancy place, but I think that's a lot for a haircut.
Yeah.
I've never had a haircut over $30, so I don't know.
My wife is a hairstylist, and I believe she charges $50 for a haircut.
Yeah. So, I mean, this must be one of the best haircuts. Like, I don't know. I mean, it must be one of the best haircuts around.
Right. So what this is showing, that other email about the hunting, that was Ariane Day Rothschild. Here is Ariane Day Rothschild getting haircuts. Epstein said he was a representative of the Rothschilds. So there is a connection between the Rothschilds, Peter Thiel, Larry Fink, all these high-level people, and there's black market children being sold. I'm trying to build the picture up to counteract, what Jimmy Kimmel and the left and all them making fun of this for years. The Democrats didn't give a crap about the Epstein files for years and years and years until they thought they could use it against Trump. And now that they put it out and it implicates all of them and all of their people and Bill Gates, now they're filing lawsuits with the victims, supposedly, to take it down.
Yeah. And another thing with the files, I don't know why we're redacting people that shouldn't be redacted. The only people that should be redacted, or anything that should be redacted, is victims.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll find that in the files, victim names are in there, but then it's like redacted, sent from redacted to redacted, Jeffrey Epstein, Peg. It's like it redacts people that shouldn't be redacted, which I don't like at all. I mean, that's not what the court ordered, so I don't know what that's about.
The names of all the prominent business people and world leaders should be on there, so we could see who sent a thing saying go ahead and kill that supermodel. There are emails like that, but the name of the person who sent it is blacked out. That person is literally ordering the death of a human being. They're not a victim. They, don't deserve to be blacked out. Let us see who is in charge and who's pulling the strings and all this stuff. So, also with these Epstein files, the U.S. is acting like this is all just going to blow over, and Trump's saying, "Oh well, it exonerated me, so shouldn't Americans move on to something more important, like healthcare?" You know, but over in Europe, this is actually having an effect on things. World leaders are resigning. Police raided Peter Mandelson's house and raided the ex-prince, Prince Andrew's house. And also, I'd like to take this time to issue a correction, because I said that Prince Charles lost his royal status, and I think I was wrong. I don't care about the royal family enough to pay attention. So that just kind of flowed out of my mouth from memory, but it you know, he's the king of England or whatever. So
Yeah.
just a little mix up. But I'd like to remain accurate and hold myself to a high standard. So I wanted to issue that correction.
Well, that's the thing too, is like on this show, if we mess up, we will correct ourselves, because we're trying to give you the honest and truthful news as much as possible. Everything we're trying to tell you is 100% truthful, and if it's not, then we will come out and we'll say we're wrong, because we're not here to have a big ego and stroke our egos. We're here to give out the news and talk about it and preach in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm trying to pull up a Bible verse right now, because I'm about to go off a little bit. But if you have do you have any other PNGs that you want to pull up?
Well, I didn't send it to myself. There was pandemic planning in the Epstein files, and they're literally, it's Bill Gates. We know that Bill Gates is in the emails. Jeffrey sent an email to himself where he's talking about how Bill Gates got an STD from Russian girls and wanted to slip antibiotics to his wife. He's also in the files talking with Jeffrey Epstein about planning future pandemics. I want Bill Gates to be drugged in front of Congress and be questioned for the things that he is implicated in with the Epstein files. And so does his ex-wife, Melinda French, who used to be Melinda Gates. She says that he should be in jail for what he did with Epstein. And we see Bill Gates downplaying it. He started off by saying he had a few dinners with him, and now he's saying that he was with him hundreds of times. So you see him starting to, unwind and tell the truth. And Melinda Gates, she is like a rat leaving a sinking ship. She's trying to preserve her image, but she's still in charge of one of the biggest, what I call eugenics programs in the world, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She's still in charge of it, or holds a position within it that is doing things like creating vaccines and setting up vaccines with Moderna prior to the pandemic, that Bill Gates had a simulation years before, and Anthony Fauci and Eco Health Alliance were funding gain-of-function research at the lab where the virus came out of. There's a huge connection there with these people, and with these people to Jeffrey Epstein, that I feel like I'd like to hear Bill Gates come out and have to answer for some of these things.
Yeah.
So,
well, he should serve in front of Congress and have to go through it all, because he's already said in interviews that he's apologetic and he thinks that he shouldn't have gone to the island. But being apologetic doesn't mean that everything you did was okay. We know that you were with Russian hookers. We know that you tried to get antibiotics and you wanted to sneak it into your ex-wife's food. I mean, and that's just two things that are factual and have come out. So And if that's not enough alone, what else do we not know about him that hasn't been released? Because I bet there's a couple things that we probably don't know about that he's done. But right here, I wanted to pull up this quote. It's Revelations 3:9. So it says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews but are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come to worship at thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee." So they say of the synagogue of, this is in Revelations, the synagogue of Satan, those who say they are Jews but are not Jews. That's just something that you need to be wary of. Obviously, I would suggest reading all of Revelations. There's so much stuff that you should do, and actually go into the Bible and read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Jesus' teachings. But that alone right there is something that I think is very important for this situation. So when you look at like stuff like involving Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel and Larry Fink, Larry Silverstein, obviously those two are very suspicious as well. The people that are on top, the Warner Brothers, these are people that you like, just off of that quote alone, you should be wary of. You should look into it, especially Peter Thiel, because we're about to get into him, and he's had a lot of suspicious stuff. And then if you want to actually dive even deeper into it, Peter Thiel's like, he was the mentor of JD Vance. And it's this all releasing is actually could be the downfall of MAGA. And we seen that they put Vance in as MAGA's successor. Yet now it looks like a lot of people are turning into a never Vance. And I'm almost to that point where I mean, he talks like he's talking good, but his background is super sketchy.
Rich, can I make a comment? So you're talking about Jews that say they're Jews but are not, and are of the synagogue of Satan.
Yes.
We're not casting a broad net onto the entire Jewish faith. There's Talmudic Jews, Hasidic Jews. There's different sects of Jews, and there's a lot of Jewish people that reject Ehud Barak. There's even a factional divide between Ehud Barak and Netanyahu within Israeli politics. So there's a lot of different kinds, but these elite pedophiles, they call us goyim in their private communications, as has been exposed by the Epstein file release, and they pull the levers of all of the world power, and they're like a separate class of their own, and whether they're Talmudic Jews or Zionists or whatever, I think that's yet to be disclosed in its entirety.
Yeah.
But JD Vance, JD Vance, Mike Johnson, Trump, all these guys who go over and kiss the wall in Jerusalem. Hillary Clinton kissed the wall, Obama kissed the wall, all these people. I want to read this Bible verse before we move on, because all these people are showing loyalty to Israel by going over and kissing the wall. Now, this wall that they go over and kiss, they say, is the last standing part of the second temple, and it's a Jewish holy site. And all the people who go to kiss the wall claim to be Christians. I want to read this out of Mark 13. This is in the words of Jesus. It says, "And as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, 'Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here.' And Jesus answered him said to him, 'See you there these great buildings? There shall not be there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.'" So if you go over and kiss this supposed wall that's part of the old temple, then you are denying what Jesus said, and you are denying that he was killed on the cross and he destroyed the temple, and not one stone was left on another. You are admitting through your actions that you don't believe what Jesus said. And therefore, I don't consider you to be a true believing Christian, because how are you going to take what Jesus said and say that it's untrue by going over there and basically idolizing a wall of a temple that actually, in reality, this wall that they're all kissing, claiming it's part of the temple, is actually part of the foundation wall of Roman barracks that were built after Jesus died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something also to look at is, while you were talking, I looked up, and I used AI, obviously. This is something that, AI is super powerful. It's a great learning tool. I said, how many presidents since JFK have kissed the wall? Because I thought that it was all of them have kissed the wall since JFK, because he was the one who hasn't. Yet it tells me zero sitting U.S. presidents since JFK have been documented kissing the wall. And that's not true, because I know Trump has. Yeah, let's just look at what it says. It says, first sitting president to visit the Western Wall, 2017. He touched it, bowed his head, and placed a note and prayed, but no photos, videos, or reports showing him kissing it. Joe Biden visited the wall, but again, no documented kissing while he's in office. He visited earlier as a VP. Barack Obama visited twice as president, yet no record of kissing the wall. George W. Bush visited Israel, and no record of him kissing or visiting the wall. Yet he did in 1998 pre-presidency. Bill Clinton visited Israel multiple times. I wonder why. He's implicated all over the files, and but then people want to tell me that it's the KGB. Yeah, all right, I'm sure it is. It's not Mossad. But as a president, no record of him kissing the wall. George H.W. Bush visited and kissed the wall in 1986, but as the vice president. Okay, so I never said sitting president either, but whatever. He kissed the wall. Reagan, no visit. That's something to look into. Oh shoot, Reagan, no visit. I mean, that's legit. I think if I was president, I would definitely not visit. There's no reason for me to be going to Israel. Jimmy Carter visited Israel, but no confirmed wall kiss during presidency. Gerald Ford, no visit to the wall. I don't know if that means no visit to Israel, but it says no visit to the wall. Richard Nixon visited Israel in 1974, but no record of him kissing the wall. Lyndon B. Johnson never visited the Western Wall. Old City Jerusalem was under Jordanian control until 1967 anyways. So basically, I asked AI a question, and it gave me an answer that I didn't ask for. So, that's just something to look into. When you talk to AI, a lot of the times it is truthful, yet there's also a lot of times where if you have a bad prompt or something along the lines, then it will tell you false information. It says none of them kissed the wall, but then when you look deeper into it, a lot of them did kiss the wall.
Wait, here, let me just play it. This is part of one of my songs that I wrote, and it's just got a couple clips.
No end in sight. Government should work for their own people. You think it's a given? I hate to break it to you. That's not the world we live in. Everyone has the right to defend themselves.
That's just, I just said, American politicians should stand for their own people. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, or whatever. So for that little 5 seconds when the guy's rapping about it, I put 5 images of sitting politicians kissing the wall in Israel wearing yarmulkes. If you're a Christian and you read, I forget what book it's in, but it literally says that men should not wear anything to cover their head, and that women have long hair as a representation of them covering their head, but it's natural, and that is the way that Christianity is supposed to be structured. Men don't cover their head. Women have long hair as a head covering naturally. Yeah. So if you're a Christian and you go and you kiss the Roman barracks that they say is the wall of the temple, and you wear a yarmulke, not only are you denying what Jesus said and disobeying the teachings in the New Testament, but you're just selling yourself out to the falsities, and you're exposing yourself as not being a true believer who's in the Word and knows what they're even talking about.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want to put my thing on screen and do Shift 7 so we're in the bottom left? Because right here we're going to get into Peter Thiel, and this is the guy who has mentored freshman Senator J.D. Vance, and this is who we're talking about when we say J.D. Vance cannot be trusted off of his background. So right here, he says, this is to Peter Thiel from Redacted. Again, why are we redacting names like this? We should be redacting only victims. Hello, Talia. So, hello, Talia. I'm assuming that's this person redacted because, I got no clue. But hello, Talia. Wanted to let you know that Peter and Jeffrey have determined they will have lunch this Sunday, September 21st. What time will work for Peter? So I'm guessing these are two secretaries working together. Lunch will be held at Jeffrey's home again. So maybe his home in Palm Beach, maybe his home in New York City. Most likely not the islands, but could be. And then here it is. So right here, we could look this up, but I'm not going to. This is the home. Thanks, blank, assistant to Jeffrey Epstein, blank. I'm guessing Talia is the assistant to Peter Thiel, but that's the first thing. This is just to introduce you that these two do have a relationship. Let's get into the next. So this is directly from Jeffrey E. Okay, let me zoom in here. Directly from Jeffrey E. to Peter Thiel, and I'm guessing his secretary like last time. So right here, let's go from the beginning. On May 31st, 2014 at 6:36 p.m., Jeffrey Epstein, this is him sending it. He wrote, or would you like to visit the island? Either side of your New York trip. So right here, Jeffrey Epstein extends the offer to Peter Thiel to come to the island. Peter Thiel responds, can't do that. Let's just try for NYC. Sent from iPad. That's pretty cool. But let's get into the next. This is where it gets good, all right? So to Peter Thiel from Jeffrey Epstein. Great. All right. So right here, Jeffrey Epstein started the conversation. Sorry you didn't make it. I looked into this. Sorry you didn't make it. Couldn't really find a definitive answer. I'm assuming it was to a party or the island or something along the line. Sorry you couldn't make it. Tough time to be a world leader. Now, I don't know what he's talking about. And if you want to try to describe what do you mean this? Because right during this point, there is some issues in the Middle East. Around this time is the Russian Crimea War. But tough time to be a world leader. That's interesting for Jeffrey Epstein to talk about with Peter Thiel. And then he said, obviously, will you be on the East Coast before the 25th, trying to link up with him? Probably in California, back in NYC starting this date. Would be cool to visit the USVI sometime. When are you there? So it would be cool to visit Jeffrey Epstein's island sometime. When are you there?
Actually, Rich, a little context for this is that it was exposed in the files that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to set up Ehud Barak with a job once Ehud Barak got out of Israeli politics, trying to set him up with a job with Peter Thiel to work at Palantir. Also, we saw Jeffrey Epstein saying that he's a representative of the Rothschilds. I believe he was talking to Peter Thiel, and he said, how can the Rothschilds get involved in tech? So this was all in 2013, 2012, 2013. Then 2013, Peter Thiel gets a contract for Palantir with the U.S. government. So Epstein helped set up some people in the background. Peter Thiel gets the contract. Now, neither one of them are world leaders, so it makes no sense why Epstein is saying tough time to be a world leader, unless these people think that they are the shadow world leaders and that they run and operate things that happen in the world behind closed doors, because neither one of them have any position in any government as a leader of any sort.
Yeah, yet they are our oligarchs that are at the top. Especially Peter Thiel. When you look at, J.D. Vance, if he becomes a president in 2028, I mean, Peter Thiel has a mentorship role over him, and I'm sure that he would fund him heavily, which means that J.D. Vance would have to listen to Peter Thiel and listen to a lot of the stuff that he wants about legislation, which in a sense is a pseudo president, or is a background character that is giving orders for our little puppet, J.D. Vance, to instill the New World Order, or, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it's disputed on what you want to call it. But yeah, tough time to be a world leader. Well, Jeffrey Epstein had tons of world leaders. And if we get into, I believe it's this one right here.
Yeah.
I have a deal. Look at this. The former president of the Maldives.
They call it the New World Order. We could argue all day about what these people are, but they call themselves the New World Order. And just for J.D. Vance, before we move on, J.D. Vance is an opportunist and a chameleon. In 2020, he was an ever-Trumper and so was Marco Rubio, Marco Rubio, it's been exposed through these emails, was the one that set up or paid for, I'm not sure exactly his role, but he had direct involvement with the creation of the Steele dossier that tried to frame Trump as a Russian agent. So these two chameleons that will go over to Israel and wear a yarmulke and work for Peter Thiel and all this stuff, they are being set up as the future of the Republican Party. And I just think that it's disgusting. And I think that people need to open their eyes and pay attention before we become something that we don't want to. This whole movement started from a want and a desire to seek the truth. And it started, way back. But the recent things that have gotten people involved was things like Pizzagate, things like the Davos group having to come out and become exposed, become the World Economic Forum, COVID-19, all the Epstein files, all these things are what this whole movement has started off as. We're not a movement that wants to become neocon establishment types. We are a movement that doesn't identify with the Democrats or the Republicans. We are an independent thought movement that wants to expose the truth and restore order and Christian moral Western values into society. And we want accountability for all these things that have happened. We don't want to go back into 2008 and become neocons again.
No, definitely not. And there's a couple of things, when it comes to the 2028 election, obviously we have so much time until then. But if the nominees became, J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, it's literally like, are you voting in evil or evil? Or like evil or New World Order? Like, it's like, dude, the options that we would have would be like horrific. We need, almost if that happens, we would need an independent candidate, which Will said to me like before. We would need like an awesome independent candidate, like a guy like James Fishback. We'll get into him later in episodes later in the year when the midterms come around. But a guy like him that takes no money and is for the American people to rise up to power, and we could try to vote him in, because both of them are sketchy in their own right. But then if you want to look at this, Ehud Barak, the guy that we've been talking about, he is one of the most prominent and decorated military and political figures in Israel. So right here, it's from Ehud Barak to Jeffrey Epstein. Let's start from the beginning. This is before the last one that we read from Jeffrey Epstein. He wrote, "I have Peter Thiel on the 19th in NY, which is New York. If you like, as well as the former president of the Maldives." So that means that he's connected with the former president of the Maldives. He's with the royal family of all the Scandinavian countries, the UK, our presidents. I mean, no one's safe. You look at India's prime minister. Then you look right here. So this is Ehud Barak responding, "Jeff, thanks. Peter Thiel could be very interesting." So it tells you right here, Peter Thiel could be very interesting. Now, just off of that alone, we need to be very skeptical of Peter Thiel, because number one, we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking about most likely the number one, I won't say that, I'll say the poster child of the sex trafficking game. Like, he is the poster child. He is the one who is on the front headlines. Everyone knows.
At this point, he was a sex offender, like a literal, like convicted sex offender while they're having this conversation. He actually tried to work through the courts to get his sex offender status removed, because that's embarrassing, and it makes him look bad when he's trying to do business with all these people. But all these people chose to do business with him, whether he was a sex offender or not. Mm-hmm. So,
exactly.
Just that alone should, raise eyebrows. Anyone that he talks to.
Now, Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, Palantir is so involved in our military and our government that it's almost impossible to get them involved or have them not being involved. So Peter Thiel could be very interesting. Now, I don't know exactly, and I'm not going to frame this as Peter Thiel's Jeffrey Epstein's successor, but I could put that out there where it very well could be. Maybe not in the sex trafficking ring, but maybe in the blackmailing ring. Maybe in some other form. Peter Thiel could be very interesting. This is a conversation over a decade ago, 2014. So you look, Peter Thiel could be very interesting. Maybe they're talking about how he could maybe mentor someone to become a president, or he could be a shadow president, just like what we've been saying. So this is something that you need to be very wary of Peter Thiel, because Peter Thiel is all over the Epstein files. I mean, even in right here, this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel and redacted. Again, why are we redacting names that shouldn't be redacted unless that's a victim, which I don't think they would be a victim if it's to Peter Thiel and victim. But whatever, we'll do this. Let me zoom in here so you can see. I keep hearing your intentionality argument. I believe I pronounced this correct. So intentionality. Imagine if this mess is what Obama really wanted. Iraq, Iran, Libya, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Egypt. We would have to admit a strategic brilliantly executed. So this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel. Obviously, Peter Thiel is involved with Palantir. Palantir is involved with our U.S. government to date. But you're looking at 7 Muslim nations. So Iraq, Iran, Libya, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Egypt. If this isn't proof enough that we're fighting on behalf of Israel, I don't know what is. Because you have 2 right here, 2 Jewish oligarchs. I would consider Epstein an oligarch. If not, he ran the biggest pedophile blackmailing ring that we know of to date. And this is in 2014. So they're talking like almost like I guess like pseudo politicians. They're talking about Obama. They're saying, imagine if this mess is what Obama really wanted. So imagine if this is exactly what Obama wanted. He wanted all these countries to be a mess, is what they're saying. So, I mean, that's just another thing to look at. Peter Thiel, Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, these people, they were very close. We showed you May. This one is in June. We showed you emails in August. They were constantly talking. These people are interconnected. And to get on, I mean, I don't know exactly like if you want to hit anything on this, because right here they have the object of this is called Dinner September, and let's see, 2013. So all these people, I looked, the majority of them are Jewish because they have this supremacy. They think that Jewish people are smarter than Goyim, which, if you don't know what a Goyim is, it is basically calling us cattle. Gentiles, the Gentiles who are non-Jewish are cattle. So it's a dehumanizing slur against Gentiles. But the majority of these people are Jewish because that's what they were into. But you have a Rothschild, as you can see, and I believe this girl was also a part of the haircuts that Jeffrey Epstein was with. You have a Zuckerman. You have Summers, who was, I think he was the head of Harvard or whatever his role was. And then you look right here, Barack. This is 2013. This is during Barack Obama's presidency. So this could be wait, let's see if that matches. No, this Barack is spelled Barak.
That's probably Ehud Barak.
Ehud Barak. Well, this would be Ehud Barak right here. Right here is Ehud Barak. He spells it Barak. Now let's go to this one, the lunch during Barack Obama's presidency. Barack, Barack. So
okay.
Even asked AI, and it assumed they meant Barack Obama, which means that if this is true, allegedly, Barack Obama, during his presidency, met with Jeffrey Epstein, which would back up the claims that Will had with Hillary and Barack talking about how they're running the pizza and hot dogs and the pizza arrangement through the White House. This was happening through the White House post-2008 when Jeffrey Epstein was already a sex offender, and no one's talking about it. It's just getting swept under the rug.
I have a video I want to pull up.
As you pull that up, we're looking right back at the women's haircuts. Let me know when you get it, so I'll pull out of this. But then we have two more before we get off of this. This is Peggy. You'll see her all over the Epstein files. I believe it's his Jeffrey Epstein's event planner. You see the subject here is yacht slut, so we'll get into that. And then right here, it's he found a criteria for smart people. The more Jew you are, the smarter you are. Just a little playful banter in 2017 about Jewish supremacy. So out of those two, we'll get into that. And as Will pulls this up, I'm just gonna go like that. No, all right, sorry, I'm trying to do this, but yeah. So Jewish supremacy, that's a lot of different races and religion have that. There's obviously white supremacists who believe that white people are the best. There is BLM, which is a movement, but then there's the black supremacists. There's Jewish supremacists. There is the Muslim Brotherhood. So that's another supremacy. There's a bunch of groups like this. So we'll get into this. But this is high ranking.
Hitler thought that Germans were the master race. There's Japanese supremacy. There's all kinds of supremacist groups. So we're not just singling out these people and their inner circle thought that Jewish people were the supremacists, the master race or whatever. These people within their circle, whether it's supposed to be funny or just a running joke, behind closed doors, it's still something that should be taken slightly seriously, because even we saw it multiple times. I think you're going to show one example today, but Robert De Niro said it, and then whatever your example was, they say, thank you, we had a 100% Jew night. The Goyim, this and that, they call people Goyim. There is a supremacy that they believe that they are, above the rest of us. And even in the Jewish religion, the Old Testament said that the Hebrew Israelites were God's chosen people, and they still hold those beliefs. Now, as Christians, and with the revelation of Jesus, it became that the Gentiles were grafted onto the olive tree and became part of God's chosen people. And it even says that God is going to make the Jewish religion realize that Jesus was the Messiah before the end times. So, as far as Christianity goes, we don't believe in that Jewish supremacy. We don't believe that they are God's only flock anymore.
Yeah, and if you want to get into it, I mean, you can't dispute it. The Jewish people, the Israelites, were God's chosen people. But when Jesus Christ came, he said, the Gentiles, I forgive you for your sins. The Gentiles are also now the chosen people. The people that follow Jesus Christ are the chosen people, and they will live in the forever land of heaven. And if you are a Gentile, you will live in heaven if you follow the preachings and the word of Jesus Christ. That's why I always say Christ is king. It doesn't matter if you are black, white, Asian, if you are European, if you are South American. It doesn't matter where you're from. If you follow the word of Jesus Christ, then you're going to be saved. So that's the beautiful thing about Christianity. It's not like the the religion of Judaism, where you have to be Jewish, or the religion of Islam. It's not like those. You can literally be from anywhere in the world if you follow the preachings of Jesus Christ. That's why Jesus Christ and Christianity as a religion entirely is the largest growing religion from non-believers. You look at maybe birth rates. Yeah, the Islamic religion has us beat on birth rates, but that's because they're told to. They're told to have as many kids as possible. In France, for example, the birth rate's 8.1 for Islamic children and Islamic families. It's 8.1. It's like 1.6 for regular French families. So that's why it's these countries are in danger of looking completely different within the next 100 years. So this is a perfect time it's the turning point. It's the perfect time to have a turning point. So are we going to allow them to divide and conquer and take over and have a country like France or other European nations be an Islamic republic? Or are you going to expel them out of the country and send them back to where they came from? And depending on how that would be, because it won't be the same. It depends on if you want to preserve your culture or create a new culture. What do you guys want to do?
That was part of my opening breakdown today, is that the U.S. is trying to pass laws to ban Sharia law. Mamdani is saying that New York City's immigration policy should reflect Islamic values and the example that Muhammad set. And right now, we're trying to do regime change in Iran. Trump just told our U.S. citizens and people in the embassies in Iran to flee the country. There is almost a second crusades that, whether we like it or not, is going to happen, and whether we participate or not, because the Muslims are participating in a second crusade, whether the Christians participate or not. They say, their imams say that we will be in control soon. We will take power. And that's part of what the Quran teaches, is that once you infiltrate up to 10% of the population or whatever, that then you can take control. You could start demanding Sharia law. And when people don't participate in Sharia law, if you don't want to participate, then you have to pay a tax. And then once they fully have control, then you enforce Sharia law on everybody, and then it becomes an Islamic society. So they have a takeover plan built into their religion. And just to say this, because we just talked about Jewish supremacy, and you could say, oh, well, this is an anti-Semitic show. No, because right after we talked about Jewish supremacy, now we're talking about Muslim supremacy. And you know, we mentioned that Hitler thought that the Germans were the master race. So we're not talking about anyone specifically. If you're in the jungle, right? You're in the Amazon rainforest, and I told you, hey, watch out, there's poisonous frogs, there's poison tree frogs, and you could die from them. You're not gonna let a jaguar come up to and eat you because your only concern is the poison tree frog. You have to watch out for the poison tree frog, the jaguar, venomous snakes. There's more problems than just one thing. So if we talk about one thing, like the inner circle of Jeffrey Epstein thinking that they're the Jewish supremacists and that they control the world, that's not our only focus. We also think that China is a big threat to the U.S. We also think that without partnership with Russia, they could potentially be a massive threat, and that maybe we should move a little closer to being friendly with Russia. Russia and China right now are trying to create an alternative world reserve currency called the BRICS central currency that would compete with the US dollar for world reserve currency status. So, you know, there's a lot of problems and there's a lot of things, but let's say you are in the jungle facing down against a jaguar, right? There might be other problems out there that are potential problems, but if this jaguar is coming up to me, I have to get in fighting stance and face off with the thing and deal with the threat that's at hand. So right now, when we're looking at the Epstein files, we are looking at one threat, and that's why we're talking about that problem specifically, because there is one threat in front of us that we have to combat, you know, at the same time as, you know, you keep an eye over your shoulder in case there's a venomous snake hanging from the tree that's going to latch onto you and bite you and potentially kill you. You do have to have peripheral vision, but at the same time, right now, we're facing down a jaguar that's baring its teeth at us, and we need to address this threat. That's why we're talking about what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. We're here, and we're not here to generalize an entire group of people. We're here to specifically talk about, and in this, for instance, just what we're talking about, the Jewish oligarchy that we have over not just our own country, but I would say Western nations as well. There is a oligarchy of top ranking of billionaires who, as I said earlier in the show, claim to be Jews. Depending on if that's what Revelations is talking about, those who say they are Jews that are not Jews, but they claim to be Jewish. They have billions of dollars. They're doing satanic rituals. You know, we're not generalizing Jews entirely. And also on previous shows, I've said it's not Jewish people, it's Zionists. But we're not generalizing Zionists either. It's a specific group of people. I have people in my life who have been Zionists before because that's all they knew. All they knew was bless Israel and you shall be blessed. But that's not what's going on. This Israel, this terror state, is not the Israel of the BCs. You know, when Jesus was around, the Israelites. These are completely different Jewish people from the Israelites. So it's a completely different situation.
Putin actually made a joke and said that Russia was in control of Israel because all the Israelis that are in Israel are Ashkenazi of Russian European descent. There's the Hebrew Israelites, you got to think about it. In the Bible, Moses was in Egypt. The tribe of Israel started in I guess what would be modern day Ethiopia. They moved north. They became enslaved by Egypt, and then they were freed from bondage and sent to the promised land in Israel. So how are all these white European Jews the original tribe of Israel? And I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
You're right. And another thing that a lot of people will combat Christians, and especially when it comes to, if I want to do a generalization of a group, if we're talking about this, it would be white, right-wing Christians. People will say, yeah, well, Jesus wasn't white. Jesus wasn't white. Well, Jesus was Hebrew. He was a Jew. And if Jesus wasn't white, then how are the Jews of today white? Because they're European. So it's the exact same thing. Their own argument is being combated, and there it is. Actually, that's perfect.
So this is Africa. Prior to the Jews being in Egypt, they were more southern, more in Africa. They came up to Egypt. Moses went to Mount Sinai, and then they went to the Promised Land. So from Africa up through here, how are these white, Baltic, Russian, European Jews the original tribe of Israel?
Yeah, no, and again, we're not generalizing a group of people. We're just showing you guys what we're trying to say.
That's one of the factions.
Yeah.
There's Ashkenazi Jews who are the white European Jews that came from Europe to Israel, and that's why Putin made the joke saying that Russia's in control of Israel already because all of their people are Ashkenazi. But then you have people in America that claim that African Americans are the original tribe of Israel. So that's why, just to tie it all back to each other, when Richard said that there's Jews who say they're Jews but are not and are of the synagogue of Satan, the Bible doesn't specifically tell you which group to look out for, but you have to interpret that Bible verse and pay attention, because that warning was in there, not just to cause problems and division in the modern world. That warning was in there, as was the rest of the book of Revelations, as a warning for people to get themselves right for the return of Christ.
Yep. Hey, I have this pulled up. Can you put it on screen and hit Shift 7? Because this is pretty important that I want to hit on really quick. So right here, this right here is, I believe I said it earlier, it's his event planner. So Peggy, I still struggle to say her last name. 2, this is Jeffrey Epstein. Is it going to be a 100% Jew night? Evan Perlman. So I looked up who Evan Perlman is. His brother, I believe, or someone with the last name Perlman. They are a billionaire and obviously Jewish, because they say right here 100% Jew night. Evan Perlman on the Yum Yum has some goyim. So let's unpack this right here. I'm gonna highlight it so you guys understand what I'm saying. The Perlman family, billionaires, Jewish, on the Yum Yum, which the Yum Yum is a code word for a huge yacht that had very exclusive parties. So on the Yum Yum, they're asking, is this going to be a 100% Jew night on the Yum Yum? So the Yum Yum is a very exclusive yacht where they have 100% Jew night parties. When I hang out with my friends, I don't usually say, is this going to be 100% white night or 100% Christian night? No, I don't say that. And I don't think, you know, a lot of African Americans or Asian Americans would say that either. But you know, this is another example of Jewish supremacy. So this rich Jewish billionaire right here on the Yum Yum has some goyim. So basically, is this going to be 100% Jew night? This rich billionaire on this private yacht has some Gentiles, which goyim, and we've said it before on this show, and we said it today. Goyim is a slur for Gentiles, which is us who follow the word of Jesus Christ, us Christians. And then basically he goes through. I am getting my quote media elite end quote list fed X'd out for Saturday, and with some emails and some names. What about Charlie Rose? Love him. I didn't really look into this, but this is what I mainly looked into. This is all Peggy, obviously, because original message from Jeffrey Epstein's down here. What about Jane Fonda, my new best friend? Nothing like an ex-Jew hater, as you see right here, with a Jewish boyfriend to mix it up. Peg. So Peg is obviously Peggy who sent this. Just to unpack this, Jane Fonda is an ex-Jew hater, and that's their quote, not mine. An ex-Jew hater. Her new best friend. Nothing like an ex-Jew hater with a Jewish boyfriend to mix it up. So this ex-Jew hater, from Peggy's own words, is now with a Jewish boyfriend. And then they said, let's add them to mix it up at the party.
Sorry, I took your thing down and put this up, but we're talking about Jane Fonda, and we're talking about a 100% Jew night. This is Jane Fonda in a different email talking about having a 100% Jew night with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Epstein file bombshell. Jane Fonda and Robert De Niro in emails. Two of the biggest Trump haters appear to be best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. These emails detailed planned hangouts with Jeffrey Epstein, Jane Fonda, Robert De Niro, and Peggy Segal. They had a 100% Jew night, elite media, and once money is paid. Is this the same email you were just showing?
Yeah, no, that's I think that's a different email.
Yeah.
That's super weird. That's super interesting.
So sorry to cut or to take your thing down, but I just wanted to show that to add context to what you're saying, that it's not just a one-off example. This is all the time that they're talking like this.
Yeah, and it's all relative. I mean, even right here, the weird part that I mean, I don't really know what this is. I haven't really looked into down here from Peggy. Have eat, pray, love. Sunday night. It's Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia without the dancing. I don't really know what that means. That's just, you know, we know pizza means little girls. I'm not here telling you it's related, but Mamma Mia is like Mamma Mia. It's Italian. Just some weird stuff. I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into that. It's some weird stuff for sure. Here's another example of Jewish supremacy. These people obviously believe that they are smarter than us because they're Jewish. So let me read this out. I found criteria to find smart people. The more Jew you are, the smarter you are. You said you're 98% Jewish. You're very smart. My ex-boss was 78% Jew. He is super smart. Less smart than you are. I have a close friend / business partner who is 99.3% Jew. He is crazily smart. This is insane. I mean, they're literally saying the more Jew you are, the more smart you are. We take all Jewish people. Sourcing can be done through relatives. Ask them to do a 23andMe test. Do an event for everyone who is 98% Jewish, and all of them are not religious. Do you think it makes any sense, right? So, I mean, they said, I seen this somewhere, so I don't have it like pulled up, but I have seen it. 23andMe flagged this. Someone bought like 40 tests, and they flagged it. They've tried to figure out what was going on. This was literally in 2017. This is during Trump's presidency. This is very recent. I mean, this is within the last 10 years. It's 9 years ago, actually, December 30th. So I don't know if they did this 23andMe night on New Year's Eve. It looks like it very well could have been. Maybe. I mean, this is December 30th, but just another example of their Jewish supremacy, that they believe that they are above everyone else.
And isn't it kind of funny that they're almost doing like a reverse of what the Nazis did? The Nazis had testing kits where they would measure someone's ear or measure their nose to see if they had like Jewish traits, and they would find out who was pure blood Jewish for extermination, because they thought that Germans and the Aryans were the master race. Now Epstein and his buddies are having a party to do genetic genealogy testing to find out if they're more Jewish, because they think that they're the supreme race.
Mm-hmm. No, and exactly. I used a example of comparing Aryans and Jewish supremacists. And, you know, I don't think that that's very far off. Both groups have had issues with each other in the past, obviously, because the Germans, what they did to the Jewish people during World War II. And then obviously there's got to be some animosity towards them afterwards from the Jewish population. Obviously, I mean, it would make sense if white Christians were getting killed in mass clumps, maybe like the Holodomor, 10 million Ukrainians were killed during the same time period in Russia. Terrible events. You would feel a certain type of animosity. So, like, I understand it, but these two groups of people are very comparable when you actually look at like how they feel about their own race. They're supremacists. They believe that they are the master race. They believe that they are the chosen people, whatever you want to call it, the master race, Aryan, the chosen people, Judaism, and the Jews. I mean, it's on both spectrums.
And they use terms for people like us, Gentiles. They use the term goyim, which is well known to mean cattle, that they are this supreme, super smart. Oh, you're 98% Jew. You're smarter than my old boss, who is only 70-something% Jew. They think that the more Jewish you are, the smarter you are. Meanwhile, they're calling us cattle as a dehumanizing term. So we're not human, we're cattle, and they're the master race of Jewish people in their own belief.
Yep. It's a very dangerous belief. It's a very dangerous thought process. And in times like this, all you can do is focus on what you can control. And what you can control is living your life for Jesus Christ, because this is what's going to save you. When the rapture happens, if it's during our lifetime or if it's in 1,000 years, when the rapture happens, the only thing that can save you is your beliefs. And your beliefs in Jesus Christ will save you full-heartedly. These people, they're performing satanic rituals in the Epstein files. They're performing satanic rituals that cannot beat Christ. Christ has died for our sins, and with the power of Christ, Satan's nothing. Satan is nothing compared to Jesus Christ. So always hold him close to your heart. Pray. Constantly do everything you can to get a good relationship with him, because the time is coming. And if that's tomorrow or if that's 1,000 years from now, the time is coming and the clock is ticking.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to play this video to kind of touch back to where we started? We're going full circle here now. We showed that there was elite pedophilia. We showed all the examples of it, and we showed all the examples of what their inner beliefs are. And then we'll come back around. I wanted to play this clip because this is Bill Maher, who is he's a left winger, but he is not so controlled and brainwashed in his beliefs that he'll actually admit when he was wrong about something.
Yeah, we could pull that up, and just this will be our closing stuff, and we'll go full circle. I feel like this was a great episode. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this to some people that you think would be interested in this, or some Christians that you know that aren't really into politics. I think it's very important for us to understand what's going on in the world, because this has ties to the Bible. There is quotes in the Bible that we've read to you today that are involving stuff that could be involving stuff that's going on today. So I think it's very important. You want to pull it up?
Yeah, I got it on my screen.
All right, nice.
And I'm only going to play a little bit of it. Oh
wait, this is this is the email right here.
Oh, sorry. Here, let me take that down and do screen share.
Oh yeah, I'll say it again too. I have this, and I have 2 other crosses on my wall. One right up there, one right back here. I think it's very important to have one of these. Even just having it in your room. I think it really helps with just living better. It's a constant reminder. Here we are. Stephen A.
What were your thoughts about the Epstein files, the 3 million pages being released? And, now we are hearing that Bill and Hillary Clinton have both agreed to testify in the House ahead of the contempt of Congress vote. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, this is certainly something we were talking in my meeting today about what I'm going to talk about on the show Friday, because it's just too interesting. And also, I can't believe I'm saying this, but where does QAnon go for the apology? I mean, QAnon, which believed in lots of really ridiculous things, like, Democrats eat babies, but they were kind of harping a lot on the idea that the elites are running this pedophile ring. And I mean, I made jokes about them. I also made jokes after the Epstein thing happened originally that were on the idea of, well, obviously there was some smoke there. Well, now with all that's come out in the last couple of weeks, there's a little more than smoke. It does look like anybody who was at all able to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, he was the man.
We're doing it.
They just, yeah. I mean, and then they all lied about it. Everybody has, and the arrogance also of thinking they could just use their real name in an email, which they did, and didn't try to couch it in, when I used to get pot before it was legal, it was like, I'd like 2 shirts, please, and no seeds in the shirts this time. You had to sort of codify it. No, they're just openly talking in emails about this sort of, sexual perversion, and that they were all doing, and lots of people who you didn't think, or I never imagined were doing it. I see these names come up. So, I mean, QAnon, yes, a lot of crazy there, but you know what? You weren't totally wrong about that, guys.
So, just based on what he said, it's important to pay attention, because QAnon was a crazy thing. Everything they said about Pizzagate was factual, but they had a lot of Gnostic type of language where they'd say, on the 9th of February, 1945, General Patton said this, and Trump used a quote that was slightly similar. So that means that Trump's going to do this. They did kind of get into a lot of Gnostic type of, like bullcrap, connect the dots types of things. But they did come out with a lot of facts. So what I took away from what Bill Maher said is that all the people who lied about their connections to Jeffrey Epstein and now are in the emails, you got to pay attention to who those people were. At the same time, you have to pay attention to the media, and none of the mainstream media is touching any of this. They should all be considered to be aiding Epstein and with what covering up what he did. Then you have to pay attention to who is covering it, all the alternative media sources. And those people are gaining massive credibility by covering this huge, huge, huge scandal. And then you also have to pay attention to who is spinning this. like Ben Shapiro trying to, focus on Elon Musk or certain specific things. And also, Elon Musk, we talked about his potential connections. Now, looking back on what our first Epstein file coverage was, it seems like Elon Musk might have actually been exonerated by this. But even me and Richard saw articles about Elon Musk that showed that he was involved, but they clipped off the part that said this was investigated and all the claims were found to be not credible. And there's Trump things that in the files at the time when FBI was doing their investigation, they had a hotline that you could call and you could say, "Hi, I was with Trump and Bill Clinton and we were on a yacht and he did this to me," or whatever. And a lot of those were found to be not credible, just crazy E. Jean Carroll types that were calling into this hotline and making claims. And you'll see the claim with a post that says Trump's in the Epstein files, but they literally crop it off where it says this claim was found to not be credible. Further investigation says that that Trump wasn't even in that area of the world at the time that this claim was made, or So there's a lot going on, and you have to be aware of everything when you start diving into this. And like we said the last two shows, just to cover ourselves, because all this is allegations and all this is from emails back and forth. If it's one person talking directly to Jeffrey Epstein saying, "Hey, when can I come to the island?" it's pretty safe to assume that that person was going to the island to go to a party or do whatever with Epstein. But when Epstein's emailing himself about the Bill Gates thing, the Russian STD situation, that was Epstein emailing himself about it. So, you got to look at this granularly and really, really back up what you're trying to claim about people, because one, we don't have all the files. Two, this is all allegations based on emails. And three, there is a lot in there that you can look and do a search result and look up the word Rothschild, and you'll find whatever 80 examples or whatever. The term pizza was in the files 911 times. These things are serious claims to make about people, and there's a lot going on with it. So good on Bill Maher for coming out and being honest with people. That's what we need to see. You could almost assume that Bill Maher has nothing to do with anything, obviously, because he's not in the files and because he's willing to talk about it. Yeah. The people who aren't willing to talk about it, you can kind of by process of elimination assume that they might have something to do with it, or they might be connected to someone who had something to do with it, that they're trying to cover this up. This should be the biggest scandal of all time, and it is for Europe for some reason. They're throwing out heads of whole countries and excommunicating members of the royal family. So the U.S. trying to move on and go on to something else is not the right way to go about it. And also another thing to take away from this, the top tiers of power in the world, they create divides intentionally to have the right and the left fight with each other, so that while we're fighting with each other, we never look up to the top and realize that our overlord masters are causing the divide. If we realize that we're fighting with each other over stupid, not important issues, and we stopped the divide and we looked up for 1 second, we would realize that this is going on, and we would start fighting and protesting against the people on the top that run things. This should be a unifying issue. The right and the left should be trying to take down, like they made fun of Alex Jones, the New World Order, globalist, satanic, pedophile elites, blah, 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 that they were making fun of. We should actually take that stance and say we need to throw off this pedophile elite oligarchy off of our backs and get back to normal and get back to Christian Western values. And I think that taking all that into consideration, along with taking into consideration, like I said, about my analogy about the jungle, that we're facing multiple threats all at the same time, you add all that in, and then while you're taking away that perspective on everything that's going on, you also look into the Bible and how they told us to go about life, and then you act accordingly based on your discernment of what's going on out in the world, with the help of the Bible to tell you how to deal with it. And we advance beyond this elite oligarchy that we've had weighing us down for hundreds of years, I would assume, at this point, and we move on and get back to what's good.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think that when you look at the mainstream news, who's not covering it, they're all owned by the company BlackRock and Vanguard. And then you look at like a guy like Larry Fink. Obviously, he wouldn't want to fully report on this. He wants us to focus on fighting each other, because when you're fighting each other, like if we're fighting the liberals and the liberals are fighting the Republicans, and then the Republicans are hating the Democrats, but the Democrats hate the conservatives, it's a constant battle, then we're never going to actually look into what's going on at the top. And the top, it just so happens to be these oligarchs that are Larry Fink, Larry Silverstein, now the Warner Brothers. There is Zuckerman, or Zuckerberg, sorry. There's Zuckerman, yeah, him too. These top-ranking people. And, we're never supposed to look at that. And as they said it themselves at I think it was the World Jewish Conference. They said, we're losing the social media battle. We're losing. And all of the guys that run social media are Jews. They say all of the people that own the social medias are Jews. And we're losing the social media battle. That's their quote. So obviously I'm paraphrasing, but it's just something that you need to look into 100%. Christ is king. We say it every episode. It's become a slogan, but it's true. Live your life for the main man, Jesus Christ, because he will protect you at all costs, no matter what situation you're in. Give your problems to God. And do you have anything else to hit on really quick, or are we good? Because I think we've had a great show. If you enjoyed, once again, like, comment, subscribe, and share it to some of your friends and family.
Yeah, I think that it's important to, like we said, get in the Word, know what God said. There's a Bible verse I'm trying to think of. I think it's for in that he himself has suffered being tempted, he is able to help them that are tempted. That's talking about Jesus. So Jesus suffered, died, and was buried, or whatever. Jesus suffered, died, and was buried to save us from our sins as the sacrificial lamb, to give us a way out from the things of the world and temptation. And we need to lean into that and focus on that, and everything else will fall into place. So for the show, that's all I think we have for you. I'm gonna just go out with our intro video, and yeah, if you have anything else to say.
No, just like, comment, subscribe, and here we are. We'll be back. If not this weekend, we'll be back Monday or Tuesday. So get ready. Episode 19's coming in hot.
Thank you for watching.
Yep.
Smashing through the lies, destroying narratives, and breaking through the mainstream media programming. This is tomorrow's America.